Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, and very good evening to everyone. Today we are going to discuss the chapter 7, the theory of the firm and the market structure. So basically we want to know uh, how does a firm try to uh, maximize its profit, and what types of profit that enjoy by this firm, given that they are operating in different market structure, either in perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic, or oligopoly. So basically, these are the learning outcome of this chapter. Basically, number one, we are going to discuss the approach uh, to the market structure, namely total product versus the marginal product. But most of the time, we are going to apply the marginal approach in examining the perfect competition, and the equilibrium of perfect competition, uh, and also in also other market structures such as monopoly, monopolistic, and oligopoly. Other than finding the equilibrium, it is also important to note that we need to know the characteristic of each of these market structure. By definition, by right, the perfect competition belong to the first type of market structure, namely perfect competition, and the last three, which is monopoly, monopolistic, and oligopoly, belong to the second types of market structure, namely imperfect competition. Okay, this is the lesson plan. So basically, in this slide, I'm going to discuss the first type of market structure, which is the perfect competition, where we try to find we try to understand or identify the characteristic of the perfect competition, and then we have to look at the how they determine the equilibrium in short run as well as in the long run. Now, before we go for each of the market structure that we have in this chapter, it is important to understand what we call the profit maximization. Okay, where total versus marginal approach. Now, first and foremost, we need to understand firm definition of firm. So a firm is an institution that hires or buys factors of production such as labor, capital, land, and entrepreneur, and they are going to organize all of them in order to produce and sell the product and services. So one of the most important thing that we need to know about the theory of firm is this firm is has the one of the most important objective, which is maximizing profit. Okay, so how they maximize the profit? Either number one, by minimizing the costs, and number two, by maximizing the revenue. All right, so if we try to recall things that we learned in the last chapter, I said total revenue minus total cost equal to profit or loss. Okay, total revenue minus total cost equal to profit or loss. But if the TR, total revenue, is higher than total cost, therefore you will have profit. On the other hand, if the total revenue is less than total cost, you will have loss. And if total revenue equal to total cost here, it is called a break even. Okay, it is important to understand that TR in our last discussion equal to P times Q. Okay, the price of goods times quantity of goods sold. So in this chapter, I will show you how we find the TC, and given these two, TR and TC, we can determine either the firm is earning or gaining the profit or the loss. Okay, before we proceed to the next part, I think the most important thing need that we need to pay attention is the equilibrium of a firm, meaning that how a firm determine their equilibrium. Okay, how a firm determine that this is the best output, this is the best price for the product. Because just now I said P times Q equal to TR. So how do we know that series of P and series of Q, the quantity is the best among all other alternative that we have? Alright, so a firm is in equilibrium when it earns maximum profit or minimum the losses. Alright, so there are two approaches to this equilibrium. Either first one I said product approach or total product approach, or number two it is called marginal approach. Okay, so in this class again I said we are going to use marginal approach in order to understand in order for us to understand how a firm try to maximize the profit or minimum the losses. Now, so according to the total approach, the first one, you can maximize the profit given that the profit equal to total revenue minus total cost. Okay, so we already learned total revenue, we already learned the total cost. Alright, so in this case we need to identify how much is TR and how much the TC. That's number one. And number two, and the most important, is to find the widest gap between the TR and TC. Okay, because there are series of TR and the TC, we need to find among this series which of this series has the highest gap. Okay, so I can say a firm is in equilibrium when the difference between the TR and TC is at its maximum, meaning that the gap here between TR and TC is the widest. Okay, so I can simply say that TR is the highest and TC at the lowest. So you will find the widest gap, the maximum differences between these two. Okay, so this applies for perfect market and imperfect market. Okay, I don't want to talk about that one, so let's straight away go for the total approach. Now, in this example, you can see that this is the quantity, this is the price, right? Okay. In this case, you can see that the price is constant. It remains 200. In every time you see the price is constant, meaning that the price of every good is constant, it can be simply refer to the perfect competition, meaning that in perfect competition everyone agreed to have the same price. That's why it is called perfect. There's no tendency for one to increase the price, there's no tendency for another for the person to decrease the price, because if you increase the price, alright, and if you increase the price and everyone maintain the price, meaning that you will lose your customer. So that's why they agree on the one price. So this is called perfect market structure. And then how do you find the total revenue? Is simply P times Q. This is what we learned in the past. For example, 200 times 0 equal to 0. 200 times 1, 200. 200 times 2, 400. So this is total revenue, P times Q. P, Q. Okay. And let's say we already found the total costs. Okay, how do you find the profit? Very simple. Just now I said TR here minus the TC. Okay, so from here you can find simply by TR minus TC, negative 50 here, then you have 0, then you have 400 minus 250, 450, and so on and so forth. You can calculate by yourself. But one thing that I said earlier, not only you have to find the TR and the TC, you need to find the widest gap. So among this series here and series here, you need to find the gap between these two, the distance between these two. You need to find the widest gap. It seems that the widest gap is actually here, 550. So meaning that it is here, we can see that the gap between the TR and TC is the widest or the maximum. So I can simply say that this perfect competition firm is at equilibrium when the TR is 1200, TC is 650. Therefore the difference here 550 is the maximum given the TR and TC just now. So here the firm will sell the product at 200, and how much quantity that they need to produce or need to sell? Is it 1, 2, 3? No, it is 6. So that's why I call it a series of quantity and series of price. Now if we put them in a graph, you will notice that the widest gap is here. Okay, this is a TR, P times Q, P, Q, so that's why you have 45 degree. Okay, and the TC here is actually things that we learned in the past. It is U-shaped, right? So you will see that it is not here. It is not neither nor here. It is here where the gap is the highest. So if you put one straight line here, okay, you will notice that here it should be right as the quantity is equal to 6. The price here has to be, sorry, the price here is the quantity here has to be 6, and the price is actually the price is actually 200, right? So here it has to be 200. Okay, now the same concept just now, which is perfect, which is the total approach, are now applied to the imperfect market. So there are three examples of imperfect market just now: monopoly, monopolistic, and oligopoly. We will discuss the detail later. But how do you know it is not perfect? How do you know it is not the perfect? I can say it is not perfect competition because the price is not constant. Okay, let's say TNB. The higher the price, the higher the quantity that you use, the more that you price that you have to pay. So the price is not constant. Okay, so that's why monopoly, TNB is a monopoly. Okay, type of imperfect market. Okay, so you can see that again it is the same. You have price here, you have the quantity, except the price is not constant. The total revenue can be found by P times Q here. Okay, TC is given, let's say it is given, then you can find the profit by finding the distance between or difference between total revenue minus total cost. So here again the concept is the same. We find the maximum we find the maximum or the maximum gap between the TR and the TC. It is clear that 6 is the maximum quantity and 300 is the maximized profit price. Alright, so I can say that here you will sell the product at 300 and the price and the quantity is 6, so that will maximize the profit. How about if you produce at 4 here, you sell at price at 350 and the quantity is 4, you will earn profit, but this is not the maximized one. So that's why according to this theory you need to find the widest gap between the TR and TC. Okay, so you will notice that the TR here is kind of quadratic a bit, and as same goes for the TC. This is the TC, so you will find the gap, the widest gap is here. Okay, the widest gap here. Do you notice that the TR is not a straight line? Because as I said earlier, in our case the price is actually is not constant. Okay, now the most important approach is actually marginal approach. So most of the time in this class and this slide I will discuss or use the marginal approach. Now marginal approach actually has to do with marginal revenue and marginal cost. Remember, marginal revenue, the change in TR over the change in change in Q. As for the marginal cost, it is change in TC over change in Q. How do you find the change? The new value minus the old value, right? So that's how you find the MR and the MC. Now, so according to this approach, you must understand that it equilibrium when the MR equal to MC, not higher or not lower, right? Only when you have MR and MC, you can find the P star and the Q star, the price that maximize profit and the quantity that maximize profit, just like before. Now, so in our previous discussion in total product, how do you find equilibrium? When the widest gap between the TR and the TC is found. Here, no. Here we say when MR equal to MC. Okay? So a firm can continue to increase profit to the point at which MR equal to MC. Okay? So again, we can apply this into the perfect or imperfect market, such as perfect, I said earlier, perfect competition, or imperfect market, such as monopoly, monopolistic, or oligopoly. Okay, so monopoly here, I said earlier, example is TNB, Astro, so on and so forth. Now, so give the example here to improve your understanding on how to apply the marginal approach on perfect and imperfect market. Now, as you can see, this is the price here. Do you see the price is constant? Therefore, it is a perfect market structure. Quantity, okay, here. So we can find the TR. Okay. Supposedly we find the TR here in the middle of 1, 2, 3, 4. In the middle of this, we should have the TR. Okay. So let's say from the TR you can find the MR. Remember? Okay, change in TR minus the change in change in TR over change in change in Q. So we'll find this one. And let's say the MC is given, marginal cost is also given. So you can find the equilibrium when you see the MR equal to the MC. So here this is your P star and this is your Q star, meaning that this is the price that maximizes your profit. This is the quantity that maximizes your profit. Now, so according to this graph, this is your MC. The normal MC that we learned in the past is a kind of Nike shape, right? MC like that. And in this perfect condition, we can simply say that the MR, you see the MR here, is equal to AR, average revenue, equal to P. So MR equal to price, actually equal to D, demand. So basically there are 4 components here. MR equal to AR equal to P equal to D. How do you find AR? AR simply TR over Q. So if you use that formula, you will find that MR equal to AR equal to P equal to D. D means demand curve. So how do you find the equilibrium in this graph? As I said earlier, when you set MR here equal to MC. So where is the intersection? It is here. So from here, this is the price that you set, that you will ask the buyer to pay, and this is the quantity that you will produce. Okay, so this is the output and the price that maximize the profit. How about, let's say I choose 5. Let's say the price is 200, quantity is 5. I also will earn profit, but this is not the profit that maximizes the output. That's why I should not produce at 5 given the price is 200. I should produce, let's say 7 in this case. So 7 is here and the price here is 200. So that's how you determine the equilibrium is in the perfect competition. Okay, now let's apply the same concept just now, the marginal revenue equal to marginal cost, for the imperfect. Okay, so this is the case for imperfect. How do you know it is imperfect? Because as you can see, the price here is not constant. Okay, so P here times Q, we will have TR. From TR, you will be able to produce the marginal revenue. And let's say the marginal cost is given. Okay, now we can find the equilibrium by equating the marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. So here you will make surely will produce at 6 and sell it at the 330. Okay, and this is represent the imperfect market because the price is not constant. Now, can we produce at 4? No. Why? Because here the MR is 330 and the marginal cost is 150, and this does not fit the equilibrium condition just now where I said MR must equal to MC. So in this case, this won't be the equilibrium what we call equilibrium condition or equilibrium situation for this firm. So the firm should produce 6 at the price of 330. So if you draw the graph, so you see that MC is the same curve. The MC is the same curve, except here you will notice that this MR is not equal to R equal to D equal to P, meaning that MR is a separate group, a separate curve. Why? Because as you can see here, the price here, actually AR equal to P, D equal to P here, actually it is higher, the value here is higher than the MR. Okay, except here they are the same for 460, but the rest is same. It shows that the P is always higher than the MR. That's why MR is lower than the P curve. Okay, and in this case, not only that, I also want to show you that the higher the quantity that you produce, the lower the price. So it is like a demand curve that we learned in chapter 2. So it is not a straight line. So every time you see a downward sloping curve, it is obviously imperfect market, either monopoly, monopolistic, or oligopoly. So here, how do you find equilibrium? When we set MR here equal to MC. Where is it the point? Here. Okay, as you're moving down, you will have, this is quantity Q star. How much is quantity Q star? Is 6. And as you're moving up, why do you have to move up? Because in here, AR equal to D equal to P, you will see there is P here. So as you reach this curve, you move to the left, this is the P. How much is the P? It is 330. Okay? Okay, that maximizes your profit. Okay? Now, how about if you straight away find the MR equal to MC and you move to the left? Is it P here? This is not P. Why? Because here is, you are in the curve MR, so this is MR. At the same time, you are also at the curve MC, therefore this one is MC. So in this case, if you move into the left, this one MR equal to MC. So we don't want to find the MR equal to MC. The only thing that we want to find is to find the Q star and the P star given the MR equal to MC here. So that's how you find the, that's how you know, that's how you that's how the firm try to set the price and the quantity of good that they need to produce. Okay, they not simply produce price on quantity. Okay, now, so given that we are using what we call the marginal approach, I'm going to show you how a firm, for example, perfect competition here, try to set the price and the quantity, P star and Q star, and finally set their profit in short run and also in long run. Except here, I want to show you that before we go further, we need to understand the characteristic of, for example, in our case right now is characteristic of the perfect competition market, right? Before we determine the profit or loss. Okay, now, so the first characteristic of perfect competition is there is large number of sellers, meaning that there are many sellers. Okay, there are many, meaning that in terms of number, there are so many. Okay, how about the size? The size is small. The size of firm is small, but there are many. Okay, therefore there is no single buyer and seller can influence the market because there are many buyer and seller. You cannot, you don't have power to control the price. For example, let's say you are in the fish market, there are many sellers and many buyers. Let's say one of the seller decided to increase the price. Okay, what will the other do? I mean, the other seller will do. They remain the same. They do nothing. Why? Because if someone decided to increase the price and you decided to maintain the price, the person that increased the price will lose his customer. That's why nobody have intention to increase or decrease the price. In our cases now is to increase the price. Okay. So we can say here the firm in perfect competition is price taker. What does it mean by price taker? We simply take the price. We don't determine the price. We simply take whatever market, whatever the industry set. As a firm, we only take it. So the price is fixed. Okay, that's why in our previous graph, okay, in our previous discussion, okay, here, this is the curve, the price curve. It is constant. It is constant, right? So meaning that Horizontal means it is a perfect competition. Now, okay. Number two, the product is homogeneous or identical. Okay, what does it mean homogeneous or identical? They are similar in terms of quantity, packaging, color, and design. Okay, so if they are similar, the product is the same, the firm cannot control the price. Okay, that's the implication. For example, look at the let's say we look at the product in the market, such as noodle. You will notice that noodle is it either Maggi or Mami or let's say Indomie. They are similar in terms of quantity, 5 in one package, and the packaging is the same, and the color design is the same. That's why the price is actually almost identical. Okay, the difference there is this difference in the price, but it's only 1 or 2, 10 or 20 cents. So most of the time they are identical. So in the perfect competition, the firm is a price taker. Price taker means we simply take the price given by the industry. So that's why the price is constant, is horizontal price. In this case, we cannot determine the price. Okay, because every time you decide to increase or decrease the price, you will lose your customer. Okay, number 4, very easy and entry D. Very easy to enter and exit the market. Enter means that you can easily set up your company. Exit means you can simply shut down your company anytime you want, because there is no such restriction on the market. Okay, so mostly you will enter the market when you see the profit. Okay, for example, Datuk Sri Alif Shukri make a profit by selling the cosmetic. So everyone else try to join him by enter the market, set up their own product, okay, their own company. And people will leave the market if they see the loss. Okay, when every time they see the loss, they will leave the market. Okay, so this is nature. Okay, we don't want to stay in the market that incur the loss. Okay. So how this firm determine firm? Remember firm versus industry. Okay, how a firm determine the price? Okay, so this is industry, this is firm. So in industry, the price is determined when the demand equal to supply. So this is what we learned in chapter 2. So this is the P star and the Q star. This is industry. Industry means many firms. Okay, so what happened? A small firm, will simply take the price. So the price that we have here, we simply take it. So that's why it is a straight line here. There is no variation in the price. So here we say P price equal to AR, average revenue equal to MR, marginal revenue equal to demand curve. So they are identical. Okay, so that's how we determine the price. Okay, so price is always constant. Okay. In next, once you determine once you have the price, next is we need to determine the equilibrium. Okay, how do we determine the equilibrium? I said there are two approaches. First is total approach, second is marginal approach. So I said in this slide, most of the time I'm going to use the marginal approach. So before we determine the equilibrium, before we can determine the profit, we need to find the equilibrium. Okay, and there are three types of equilibrium in short run. Okay, short run means one of the input is a variable, is a fixed. So first is supernormal, okay, where your TR is bigger than TC. Secondly is subnormal, it is also non-losses. Okay, here your TR is less than TC, or maybe your P is less than AC. Either one is accepted. Okay, normal profit or break even is where the TR equal to TC. Okay, and your P or your AR is equal to AC. So in this case, I will show you before we have the profit or loss or break even, we need to determine the equilibrium first. Okay, so this can be seen in this example. Now, so let's say you draw one curve here, straight line curve here like this. Okay, so this is perfect competition. Already know this is perfect competition, and you make one straight line like this one. This is MC. Okay, so this is thing that we learned in the past. This is MC. So this is P, AR equal to D, equal to MR. This one is MC. Now, from here, we can determine the equilibrium, because I said to you just now, you must determine the equilibrium. So, equilibrium can be found when MR equal to MC. So here, this is your Q star, let's say 10, and where is your P? P is here. P star is 10, also 10. So, now this area, which area? 0, A, C, and Q is a total revenue. Why? Because it is P times Q equal to TR. Okay, P times Q equal to TR. We learned in the past that P times Q is a TR. So this area of TR. Now, so you already find the equilibrium. Now, your task is to find the profit, because supernormal profit says that TR is bigger than TC. That's number one. Or P is bigger than AC. Now, I will show you both conditions. So TR is bigger than TC if, number one, your P, this is your P, is higher than the TC. Okay. Now you draw the AC, the normal AC that we draw. So one thing that you need to understand, that your AC must, your MC must cross the minimum of AC. Okay. Let's say we draw like this. And how you draw this curve? The curve has to be lower than the P. Okay, it should be lower than the P. This is the P curve, so it should be lower. So from there, from the equilibrium just now, where is the equilibrium? The MR equal to MC at here. You going down, you attach the AC curve, right? Move to the left. That's your AC. Okay, that's your AC. How much is your AC? It is 5. So how much is your TC? TC is, in previous discussion, TC can be found by AC times Q. So where is your AC? This is your AC, this is your Q. How much is it? 5 times 10, so it is 50. So that area, this area actually, is TC. So it is a 50 TC. Where is the TR just now? P times Q. This is the TR. 10 times 10 is TR. So here is TR, here is TC. Which one is bigger? TR or TC? TR. TR is here, minus TC is here. Therefore, TR is bigger than TC. The distance, I mean the gap here, it is called profit. Do you see that the TR, this is the TR, is bigger than TC? Yeah. Okay. So basically, it follows the condition. Or second condition, AR or P is bigger than AC. Where is your AC? 5 is your AC. A is your P or your AR. P or your AR. So you can see that P is bigger than AC. Therefore, you also will earn profit. Okay. So this is how you calculate the profit. Okay. So here TR is P times Q. 10 times 10. TC, AC just now P 5. Sorry, not P. The AC here 5 times Q, 10 here. So you will get 50. So the distance TR minus TC, this one minus this one, will equivalent to the 50. So 50 here is positive, therefore it is a profit. And economics we call it supernormal profit. Secondly, I want to show you the normal profit. Okay, how we find the normal profit? It is very simple. Again, you make one straight line here to represent MR equal to AR equal to D equal to P, and you draw one MC curve here. So you can find the equilibrium when MR equal to MC. Okay, the intersection is here. Going down is your Q star, and A star or P star here is actually your P. So this is your equilibrium. Okay, now then once you find the equilibrium, what did I say? You must find the TR and the TC. How do you find the TR? P times Q. Where is your P? This is your P. Okay, moving to the left from the equilibrium point just now, we move to the left. This is your P. Where is your Q? This is your Q. 10. Okay, so P times Q, which is 10 times 10, is TR. Again, TR. Okay. Now, because now we are trying to find the normal profit. How do you find the normal profit? Where either we set the P equal to AC or TR equal to TC. Okay. Now let's say we set AR equal to AC. So this is the P just now. So let's say you draw a AC curve. Okay, AC curve like this, and the MC must cross the minimum of AC. Here you will notice that A actually, which is the P, is actually also equivalent to the AC, because here is the point where MC equal to MR Also here we'll notice that it also will P equal to AC. So here, when P equal to AC, meaning that this is TR, total revenue, this also the TC. So there is no difference between TR and TC. That's why it is called normal profit, meaning that the distance between TR and TC is zero. So that's why it is called TR. Next thing is subnormal profit or loss. Okay, so in this case, again, draw the one straight line here to represent MR equal to AR equal to D equal to P, and then you draw the MC curve like this, the Nike. Okay, find the equilibrium. Where is the equilibrium? Equilibrium can be found when you setting the MR equal to MC. Where is it? Here in the C. So going to the left, move to the left is your P star. Moving downward is your Q star. Okay, so now you can find the TR. P times Q. This is the total revenue, the TR. Okay, 10 times 10 is 100 is TR here. Okay, now how do you find the subnormal profit when your P is less than AC or your TR is less than TC? So in this case, your AC has to be higher than the P. That's why you draw it higher than that. But not only that, you must cross the minimum of the AC. Right? The MC must cross the minimum. So what do you do here is this. From the equilibrium point C here, moving up, you touch the AC curve, move to the left. This is your AC curve. So I said earlier this one is TR, P times Q is TR. So this is your AC. When AC times Q, this is TC. Do you notice that your TC is bigger than TR? So it is subnormal loss. Or you can simply look at this. Your P here 10 is less than AC. AC is 15. So it also proves it is a loss. So how much is the loss? Very simple. Since you have 100 TR and TC, how much is TC? 15 times 10, which is 150. So TR minus TC, which is 100 minus 150, you will have negative 50. So negative 50 actually amount of loss that we have to incur. So in the short run, this is my conclusion. In short run, perfect competition has three types of profit. Either they experience supernormal, normal, or subnormal profit. Okay, this can be any case. Okay. So, that's it about the three types of profit in short run. Now I want to move to the next part. In the event of loss, let's say companies such as let's say Malaysia Airlines System, alright, or maybe TNB. All this time, this company incur losses, alright. So how do we know that they incur losses? Because either the TR is less than TC or the P is less than AC. That is the first condition. Okay. But why does this firm, or why do this firm remain or continue their operation? That's the question. So actually, this part has to do with first, in the situation of loss. Okay, so firm has to do two option, either to continue or to shut down the operation. Shut down means they close the company. So Petronas has two options. Even they have lost, they not necessarily have to shut down the company immediately. So basically they have two choices, either to continue or shut down. So all these years they decided to continue. Okay, how do you know they will continue? Okay, according to economics, once you have the loss, where is the loss here? This area, because your TR here is less than the TC here, so this is amount of loss. So in the event of loss, you have two options, either continue or to shut down. So you will continue even your company incur the loss if your P, okay, your P here is still higher than AVC. Okay, so if P is higher than AVC, okay, bukan AC, it's not AC, it is AVC, average variable cost. Do you see that? This is 10 is your P. Okay, your AC is
AVC is average variable cost is 5. So you will notice that the P is higher than AVC. In this case, you should continue. Okay. How about all these years, this company such as Malaysia Airlines, the price, the total revenue still can cover the this what we call the average variable cost. Right, so they should continue. But in the event where your price here, okay, you incur the loss. Just now, obviously this is the loss. But in the event that this curve ABC is slightly higher than the P, let's say I draw one curve here like this here in the middle, you will notice that the ABC is higher than the P. Let's say I take here 13. Okay, you draw one curve here, ABC, not this ABC. ABC is slightly higher. ABC, I bring it here. So let's say 13. So the ABC is higher than the P. Okay, in this case, you should shut down the company. Why? Because the company not be able to cover the average variable cost, neither nor the fixed cost. So that's how we decide. In the event of loss, that's how we decide either to continue or to shut down. So hopefully that this will answer your question about why some company, even the incur loss, they didn't shut down their company immediately, because it depends on interaction between P and AVC. Okay, if P is bigger than AVC, continue. But if P price is less than AVC, they should shut down. Okay, so this is example of when the AVC is higher than the price. So ABC here is 12, because from the C just now, the equilibrium price here, you're moving up, move to left, this is your AVC, not AC, the AVC. So AVC is higher than the P, so ultimately you should shut down the company. Okay, the company not be able to survive, to cover all the costs that they have to pay. So in the long run, just now is short run, now we are talking about the long run. In the long run, the perfect competition only earn one type of profit, and this profit is called normal profit. Okay, normal profit. Why is it? Because according to our discussion just now, I said to you, and this is how they draw the normal profit. Remember, I said this is TR. Also here is the TC. So you can see P AC equal to P here. You can write here P equal to AC. So this is a TR. Also this is a TC. Exactly like the short run one. Okay. I say you put L in front of that to represent the long run. Okay. So why does this firm earn why does perfect competition earn normal profit? Because this is the argument. Every time in the short run, every time you see, every time you make profit, okay, that people will enter the market. Okay, so start at the beginning you earn profit, but as the people enter the market, the profit will start to going down. So it goes back to the normal profit. From the supernormal, it goes back to the normal profit, because people it will allow the people to enter the market. Okay, because there are many competition. Okay, how about in the event of loss? In the event of loss, okay, where you have TR is less than TC, people will leave the market. So as the people leave the market, from the loss you are moving to the normal. Why? Because as the people leaving the market, there are only few few firms that operating in the market, and finally this firm will be able to set that the price equal to the AC. So that's why in the long run, the only profit that earned by this perfect competition firm is a normal profit. Okay, so this is how to explain the effect of entry and exit the market. But I'm not going to explain the details, but I can simply say that this is the market, this is the firm. Okay, So I want to show you the effect of, let's say, enter of the market because of profit. Every time you see profit, someone will enter, and what happens next? From normal, from super normal, it becomes normal. So that's actually uh, this actually to explain the how you achieve the normal profit. So at the beginning, in the market, you will have SO equal to D here. So this is the price 20, the quantity is 10. Now as a firm, what do you do? This is firm, this is industry. So you will take the price. Okay, so this is your price. Okay, you sell product at the 20. Now let's say, assume that this is your MC, you will have the equilibrium here, because MR equal to MC is here. Going down is your quantity, and this is your price. Okay, and given that, I said given that your AC is here, this is your AC, now you actually have profit. Why? Because your AR is higher than AC. Your AR or your P is 20, your AC is 10. Now, I said earlier, if you earn profit, what happen? What will people do? They will enter the market. Now, as they enter the market, what happens next is the supply curve, as we learned in the chapter 2. The number of supplier increase, this, or what we call the number of firm increase, the supply curve shift to the right from SO to S1. So let's say it's shift to the right here. Now, so this is exactly at the 10. So here is the new price 10. The new quantity is 15 for the industry. Now, will you take the price? Yes, because you're price taker. Now, so the new price for this company is no longer 20. The new price is 10. So once you take the price as 10, you will sell it the product when MR1 equal to MC. So it is here. So do you notice that the price is a bit lower and the quantity is also lower? Not only that, using the same AC, the same AC does not change. Do you see that your P here is actually equivalent to AC? Now do you see that? So here, from supernormal, you back to the normal. So that explains how you earn normal profit in long run. Why is it? Because an effect of the entry of the other firm into the market when they see the profit. Okay. So similarly, the effect of exit. Okay, I'm going to explain that here. So hopefully that you understand how to read it. It is the same as the effect of entry. This one effect of entry. So effect of exit should be the same, except the supply curve shift to the left. So this is the I can say perfect competition. The mistake here is oligopoly. This should be more perfect competition. So this is the summary of the characteristic of perfect competition. So you can see that the numbers of seller large and many. Types of good is homogeneous, identical. Price is the price taker. Conditional entry, very easy to enter and very easy to exit. Okay. As for the market equilibrium condition is MR equal to MC. In the short run, they will earn three types of profit: supernormal, subnormal, and normal. In the long run, they will only have one profit, which is normal profit, due to free entry and exit just now. Okay, so I think that's it for this chapter on the perfect competition. In our next meeting, we will talk about the monopoly. Thank you.